Games, Brains and a Head-Banging Life here with another episode of The Nasties. We're sticking to the 80s for this one, 1981 specifically, and the movie Bloody Moon, directed by the famous Jess Franco, who, I guess, name speaks for itself really if you know the director's work. Often erotic, quite gory, violent, sexualised stuff. Done some very infamous films. This is not one of his best. Bloody Moon, as you can see right there. Certainly not one of his best. Stars Olivia Pascal, Christopher Moosbrugger, Nadia Gerganofanoff, and Jasmine Loskaniski. This was one of the prosecuted video nasties. It was a video nasty, successfully prosecuted as well, and had about a minute, 20 seconds cut from it when it was released in 1993. However, has now been released uncut as of November 2008. The majority of what you'd find what was cut in this movie after when it was released is the gore scenes. It's just the gore, including what is considered the infamous circle of saw, beheading, stone mill scene.
Yeah. Tame. No.
No, I don't agree with it being tame in that sense because it's very, very gory. Very gory. But it looks silly.
Yeah.
It looks silly, and if by modern horror standards, of course, like most nasties, it doesn't. You can't look at it and go, "Wow, that deserved to be." You know, we've always got to go. This was of a different time.
Yeah.
I actually think there's an earlier scene that's far worse, which involves a snake.
Oh yeah.
A live snake having its head cut off, and you focus on the headless snake, kind of still alive almost. I think that's far worse. But yeah, most of the gore was cut, and gore isn't loads in this. It comes in dribs and drabs, and normally when with a killing blow. That tends to be quite violent in how it's done. For example, you get a knife that's pushed through the back that goes through a breast of a woman. There's a hedge, I guess, are they hedge clippers or clippers around the neck?
No, I think it was some sort of it looked like some sort of restraining thing. It didn't like any.
Well, because it was something to do with gardening because it was a gardener.
A collar, so I don't know what it was. Maybe it's like hold trunks or something of trees when you're doing something to them.
Maybe it was
like a
we can't really quite identify what it was, but stuff really relating to that more than anything else. So we're going to go through the plot as always, as best we can. It's a little bit of a mishmash of a plot. It basically is a slasher movie. It's basically a slasher movie. Set at a Spanish language school. Yeah. So where you go to learn Spanish.
Yeah.
And the majority of the cast are female. There's a couple of males in the role, mainly to do with more villainous or suspected villainous.
Yeah.
And most older victims are women.
Yeah.
Except for a boy who gets run over.
Oh yeah.
But so there's a lot of nudity in this. There's a lot of topless women. A lot of sort of outfits, very Jess Franco style, where it's very revealing
see-through,
outfits, see-through, sexy, that kind of thing. But a relaxed kind of sexy, if that makes sense. Meaning that a lot of the time the nudity isn't necessarily about erotic, erotic. It just
how
is.
They're dressed. Yeah, it's just how they're dressed.
It's only really the character of Manuela, played by Nadia Gerganoff. Who's probably the most, I think, sort of one that sold the most as being the kind of sultry, sexy kind of thing. You know, there's a lot of shots of her topless staring out a window at a moon, that kind of thing, you know. But we're going to get into the bit of the plot now anyway. And it opens, it's got a kind of a cold opening that starts it way before the actual events of the movie.
Years.
5 years, actually, 5 years. Well done, because that's how long he's in prison. And it's Miguel, which is Alexander Whitechater, who plays Miguel. Basically, he's a man who's scarred. One half of it, it's very Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, so one half is kind of like just really burnt, scarred skin, isn't it?
Yeah. It's not the best prosthetic, as it often likes to get up close to his face, and you kind of clearly see it's just something that's stuck on.
Yeah.
But it looks all right for the most part. Anyway, obviously that's kind of meant he's shunned and all that, and he kind of hides. He doesn't help his cause in the sense that he spends far too long hiding in bushes watching.
Yeah, creeping in bushes. Yeah, just not talking or...
Yeah, it doesn't help his cause.
No.
And what doesn't help his cause is that there's a party going on at this school, and a couple goes off to have sex, or make love, as they put it. The dialogue in this movie, guys.
Well cheesy.
We should probably say now, the majority, in fact, I believe, if not, I can't say all because I wasn't paying that much attention to all their voices, but I'd say 95% of the voices are dubbed.
Yeah.
And badly dubbed as well. With some of the worst dialogue you'll hear.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely hilarious. Think, the fact when the opening lines are, "I want to make love to you," and like when they're kissing, it's all "take me" and "hold me."
Yeah, it's a bit over the top. Yeah.
It's very, very silly. Characters will go on rambling speeches, and this dialogue is so fast and so there's no stopping for breath, and it's so stupid. It'll be like, "I want to go, I really want to go, I must go now, I need to go right now, we must go, we must go, we must run."
Yeah,
and it's like that.
It's really frustrating to kind of like listen to.
Yeah, particularly when you're watching a character whose voice, there's no attempt. There's no attempt to match up. They're speaking, I presume, either Spanish or Italian.
Yeah.
And so there's no way they can match it up. So they didn't even bother to try.
No.
It's just like, here's a voice over a person talking.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Anyway, Miguel, after that couple go off to have sex, he grabs the mask of the boy that was one of those duo, puts it on, and goes to dance with a girl on her own. This girl thinks it's that boy, and that he's come to have sex with her, and she's like, "Oh, really happy about it." So she drags them off to a quiet little cabin.
Little bungalow things, isn't they?
Yeah, like it's an on-stay school. You stay there. It's got like a pool. It's almost like a resort.
Yeah.
A resort / school.
Yeah, it's got a nightclub and everything, isn't it? So.
Yeah, the disco club.
Disco club.
The disco club, which came up quite a lot. Anyway, so while they're getting down to it, he starts getting passionate. She's like, "Take your mask off." And she takes it off and sees it's Miguel. Obviously, she's horrified. I don't know if it's as much like horrified over the face he has, or the fact that he happens to be someone she doesn't know.
Yeah.
But he takes it badly. He grabs a pair of scissors and kills her. Stabs her repeatedly in the stomach. It's not a great scene at all.
No.
The initial effect, it's like it's rubber. Yeah,
'cause you can see clearly that it's
And then it cuts away and it just sort of shows him stabbing over and over again. Yet there's no blood. Like, his shirt is completely dry. You're stabbing someone in the stomach, there's blood going to fly out. But there's none of that. And basically, he doesn't get away with it or anything. We then cut to some time later, 5 years, we will later find out, when Manuela, Nadia Gerganov, has come to collect Miguel, who is being released into her care.
Yeah.
They are brother and sister. So, this is a funny scene. This made me laugh because the doctor's basically like, basically don't do anything to trigger his memories of that night. Don't do anything that might trigger it. And it's like, if he's this dangerous, that's the problem.
He's released after 5 years.
You're not releasing this person, if that's a possibility. But of course, Manuela just takes him directly back to where all those events happened. Yeah. So there's that. And obviously, the obvious thing is when a killer starts, the idea is you're pointing directly at Miguel. Yeah. It's designed specifically to throw you off. There's a major whodunit in this. And it highlights several characters. It really wants you to believe it's Miguel or another character, just so it can throw you. It's not well done.
No.
We'll say this now. It's not well done. And while I wouldn't say it's obvious who it is, when it is revealed, you're not like, oh, you're like, oh,
yeah,
that's the difference.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we got all these. We get the first interaction between Miguel and Angela. Angela's running late and on a train. And she's played by Olivia Pascal, the highest billed actress in this because she's the star. She is our final girl.
Yeah.
And she's obviously... She actually doesn't react badly to Miguel, if you remember.
No.
There's a weird attempt at a scare where it looks like he might have killed her. And then it's just, no, she fell over and her scarf got caught.
Yeah. I thought that was bizarre as well.
Well, she speaks to him like he's normal on that, which is weird. She speaks to him like he's normal on the train, but later on she constantly acts like he's a weirdo throughout the movie. But then he is a weirdo because the majority of this movie of Miguel's actions are him skulking through the trees, watching from a distance, or standing outside people's windows. Yeah. Miguel, you're not helping your cause. The long and short, we get the likes of Angela, Inga, which is Jasmine Losensky, Eva and Betty Engali, Elvira, Antonia Garcia. These are all women. They're all friends. They're part of the school. We're not going to go into each and everything what they did because it's not important. There's a lot of chatter and a lot of love for one character alone. So basically, there's one boy.
Oh God,
now, initially, I thought he was a student, but he's not. He's a handyman almost who works for the teacher.
It's like the only two staff there, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. I can't remember what the teacher's name was.
Alvaro.
As it was?
Alvaro.
Oh, Alvaro. Yeah, okay.
Alvaro was the teacher. Antonio was the...
You're right. Alvaro, which was Christoph Moosbrugger, is like I'd put him in his early 30s.
Yeah.
Teacher. And he's probably one of the better actors in it. He's got good facial expression.
Yeah.
And also comes across at times warm, but also quite
teacher-like. Yeah, which is good. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we have Antonio, which is the boy. Antonio's like a young, rugged, good-looking kind of Lothario almost.
Yeah.
Peter Exarchoustios. And the women love him. Holy fucking shit, do they love him?
Yeah, they're all fighting over him, aren't they?
He's literally got a harem of women around him. And for some reason it will go down this route sometimes where one is getting jealous of another over it. Yet then other times they're encouraging each other to go and have sex with him.
It's bizarre.
It's very, very bizarre.
I think that's a theme of the film, like a lot of wasted conversations.
Oh, it's a lot.
And just like assuming things like, oh, you want to go sleeping with him, that's why you're trying to get rid of this other girl. And
yes, absolutely right.
So
there's so much dialogue that is based around, oh, you just want to get rid of this girl so you can have Antonio.
Yeah.
And the thing is, Antonio the actor isn't bad either.
No,
he's not bad either. He's not a bad actor at all, but his role is greatly diminished as the movie goes on. Initially, it feels like he'd be quite an important character. He's also a suspect to a degree, but I'd say after a certain point, he just almost disappears from the movie, particularly after he gets administered with Angela. So Angela's our final girl, is the only one who isn't really taken in by him.
No.
To a degree, although she can't help herself getting all mushy-eyed when he picks her a flower directly outside her front door and gives it to her.
Yeah, it's hardly romantic, but
no, it's not. A lot of this movie is spent with Angela creeping about while people watch from windows and stuff like that. She is the first to discover the body, which is Inga, I believe, is the first one that's properly killed, who gets the knife through the back, through her breast. A massive continuity issues in this movie. There's one here, as later on you'll see, in this shot, the knife got, like this knife, which is just a standard knife, someone goes through her back and through her entire breast with the point of the knife coming out for her nipple. Yeah. But later on you'd actually see, when you see her body, the knife is actually more centered.
Yeah, so that's continuity.
Yeah, massive continuity issue. But she finds Inga's body and runs off to tell everybody, hysterical, all that. No one believes her. This is up there as one of the worst movies for characters not believing others.
Silly woman.
Silly woman. I mean, it's almost as bad as why they didn't give her. It's almost like you can almost see them giving her a slap and telling her that it's her time of the month.
Yeah.
It's that overblown to the point where it's unbelievable, and it doesn't help her case. No, because she's all constantly hysterical after a point. Getting her to calm down, explain herself, and then like
you go to the police by that point. If no one's believing you, you go straight to police.
Well, yeah, after she finds Inga dead and all that, and no one believes her, and the body's not there, which is another interesting point as well. Inga's body is found when she brings people back to showing his body.
Yeah.
Not only is her body gone, but there's no blood anywhere.
No,
yeah, the same bed covers are still there. It's very silly. Of course, everyone suspects Miguel. Well, Angela suspects Miguel, should we say? But there's nothing else really going on there. Now, in between these bits of Angela, you get a lot of information about Manuela and Miguel. This is like these side stories, so to speak. Now we get this really long, drawn-out early scene with Manuela and her aunt. And this is a great example of that dialogue that is over the top when the aunt goes on a rant about how much she hates Manuela and how she's cut her out of a will and not leaving her anything. And it's like a minute long. Yeah. And not a breath in between. Just... What the fuck? What was that? Whoa, calm the fuck down kind of situation. But yeah, this aunt really doesn't like Manuela. Reasons?
Yeah.
Who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
So, she's actually the first to die in the movie as someone creeps into her bed with a fucking flaming torch and sets her on fire. Which is really funny if you think about it. It's like, that's so over the fucking top. Also, how did the room not burn down?
Yeah. Another point in this film, they can't pull too many strings in this film, can you?
No, and it obviously as well, it kind of early drops the massive hints why it gets a surprise that Manuela might be involved, because several times in the movies you'll then see her pushing her aunt around in the wheelchair, but it's like, but she's dead. Like it's all like for some big reveal at the end when Angela finds the aunt's body all burnt and stuff, and it's like, but we already know that because we saw it.
Yeah, so there's nothing for us.
There's nothing for us, Yeah. But basically, it turns out through some of these side stuff that Miguel and Manuela aren't just brother and sister. They're sexy brother and sister. Bow, check out, he loves her. He adores her. And they previously, leading up to his initial murder, were in a relationship together. There's a pretty uncomfortable seduction scene where, she's wearing... she's wearing nothing. She's wearing a dressing gown that's completely see-through and a thong. Yeah. That is it. And she's all like, oh, Miguel, we can't carry on as we are. People won't understand. But then she's standing there wearing that, and not only that as well. Then she's taking her shoes off, and he's all like, let me. And she's all like that, leaning back as he starts kissing her leg. It's one of those where it's like, this would be sexy if it wasn't for scarred face and the fact that you're brother and sister.
Yeah.
And they basically set it all up for Miguel here, because she's like, oh, we could be together if everyone was dead.
Yeah. So it's like, so that kind of sets you off on that tangent of, he's going to go on a killing spree.
So he can be with his sister.
Yeah.
But, as I said during the film, I was like, he's going to have to kill a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people. So, the movie goes on, more and more people die. And then we get one of the more random. It's really random, but it's the more infamous scene. Which is it the character? I think it's Eva, isn't it? Eva, the character of Eva?
Yes.
That goes with a random guy who apparently she doesn't know, dressed in black, because we never see this person. We only see his body.
Yeah.
So she gets in a car with him and drives off to the stone mill. She's a lot of like, and she constantly, I'm not surprised he cut her head off, because she wouldn't shut up.
Yeah.
So he ties her to a stone
block,
I guess, which is used to cut for the sword. Sort of things are tied to, and the sword cut them.
Yeah.
And like he's tying her with rope and all that, and all for it, she's like, "Oh, I like kinky and this and all that," and it's like, you've never even met this person, and tying you down with rope. Like, calm the fuck down, you horny girl.
Yeah.
But obviously, it turns out Enida turns the saw on, and you get a kind of drawn out lead up to it as she realises she's in trouble. Or while a little boy watches from the outside, he tries to save her.
Yeah, he turns it off and he then gets scared away, doesn't he?
Yeah, and the killer puts it on. And obviously, her head goes towards the saw. It then switches to a dummy, obviously.
Yeah.
Quite clearly a dummy. And her head gets cut off. Where this film, why it's so graphic? Well, the concept that is graphic. Regardless if it's a dummy, it's the implied graphic nature of it. But also, when her head comes off, it focuses its camera on the stump.
Yeah.
As the blood pumps out of it. It's very graphic.
Yeah.
It is. And you can understand why it's one of the more famous scenes from this movie.
Yeah.
So that's her dead. The killer, who I think you'd be able to guess who this was based off the body.
Because how tall
they are, thin they are, and so on. I think you can.
Yeah.
And it would also then make sense. Well, here's the thing: it would make sense that then you could be like, "Oh, that's why she went off with this person." But during her babbling dialogue, she says about taking the mask off. So she didn't know who it was.
No,
she genuinely didn't. So that makes it even dumber.
Yeah.
Because had she been all like, like using dialogue made it clear she knows who the person is, that would at least make more sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, this killer chases down the kid and runs him down, which is a bit much.
Yeah.
It's almost a bit like, you could have done that without having the kid.
You would have gone anyway by then.
But it's not even had the kid in it.
Yeah.
The kid doesn't do anything.
No.
You know?
Doesn't save the girl, does he? So,
no.
Yeah.
And it's kind of... Here's the thing. The majority of the cast just disappears.
Yeah.
So, we get the main cast, the main girls, which is the group of Angela's friends. They all basically get off. There's only like 3 or 4 of them. And we kind of see it when Angela returns to her cabin and finds each body here and there.
Yeah.
But the rest of the school disappears.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
They just disappear. There's no parties. They're just not there. Antonio gets himself in a spot of bother after he tries to save Angela, who's about to be attacked by a snake, and he cuts its head off with shears, which is the snake scene we've seen.
Yeah.
However, Angela sees him with bloody shears over her head.
And assumes it's him.
Yeah, goes running off screaming. Again, no one believes her. Absolutely no one believes her. He doesn't help matters by not just going to her home, but waiting until she opens the door to go, "Oh, I need to talk to you." You know, and then again.
Yeah.
Poof.
Just gone.
Just gone.
Yeah, I find it really frustrating. Really frustrating. Like, at least make it believable.
Yeah, it's absolutely absurd.
It's just so like just really woolly scenes and just nothing makes sense. It's just all to set up the bits, but you could have done it a lot better.
Yep.
So.
And it all kind of culminates at the house of Manuela and Miguel, where we then kind of basically get revealed that the killer is Alvaro, thank you. I think I'm forgetting the names here. Alvaro, the teacher. And that he did it because he loves Manuela. And basically money and money and money. Although Manuela says he ain't getting paid because she paid him with her bodies. Yeah. That makes him mad. He tries to kill Manuela. Miguel realises he's been used and set up. But when he goes to kill Manuela, finds Angela in the bed. so attacks her,
Yeah.
and she then stabs him through the neck and throat with a spike.
Yeah.
Like a letter opener, something like
Something
that.
like that,
Something
yeah.
like that. And it's a pretty graphic scene as well. And you kind of figure that's it from, well, it should be it from Miguel. So the long and short of it is, what's call it, everyone dies except Angela and Manuela at this stage. Manuela uses this as an opportunity to basically get away with it by telling Angela, you saw all this, you saw all that,
Yeah.
this is what happened, that's the story.
Yeah.
Probably didn't need to say that, I think she could have just pretended like it had happened as it was.
Yeah.
There was nothing that Angela knew about Manuela, but by saying all that, she surely implicates herself.
Yeah, she was like, oh, why did you say anything? 'Cause she hadn't ever heard anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she just left it at that.
Yep. And it seems like we've reached a resolution, but Miguel is not dead somehow, and returns and kills his sister.
Yeah,
And then dies himself, and dies holding her hand.
yeah,
And it's supposed to be soppy, but it's not.
yeah. To see what went into that last bit of, yeah. Oh, it's nice holding hands. No, they're just...
No, it's not. It's not. There's no like love for any characters in here. There's no getting behind anyone, and that's it. The police come and arrive, and the movie ends. Angela is our final girl, happily ever after, so to speak. That's basically the plot of Bloody Moon. It's not good.
No, I wouldn't go back and watch it again.
This is the second time I've seen it. The first time for a review on the site over a year ago. The second time for this. It's not held up on repeat viewings. Absolutely. I don't think it's terrible. I think there's some stylistic quality to Jess Franco's efforts. I think he understands like the way to shoot erotic scenes and to make women sexy and stuff like that. It's very much his style. But he's not great on putting coherent plots together.
Yeah.
I don't know how much this was hurt in post-production in regards to what was filmed and then what was put in.
Yeah.
But the movie has massive gaps of absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing.
going on. Like a random scene where the Angela, while she's out trying to get some help, a rock falls down off a cliff.
Oh my goodness me.
A big rock falls down off his cliff face, and two police on mopeds kind of go past. She stops them and says, "Oh look, what are you going to do? Like, I did got hit by a rock." And Joe was like, well, she goes, "Oh, what's what happens when I can't read the signs," or something like that. Like they tell her, "Oh, what signpost it is."
Yeah.
But while she stopped the police, she doesn't say, "Look, I think something's going down at this school that I'm at the moment." Doesn't mention it. So there's no point of stopping the police.
It's
a
totally
separate
irrelevant.
issue, yeah.
It's literally a scene that could be cut. Because it's also like, what, did someone push the rock down? I made the joke that it was the fucking coyote trying to get the Roadrunner.
Yeah.
Because it's just a random massive boulder. It's not like a small rock, a massive styrofoam boulder that comes crashing down the cliff. Is it implied someone tried to kill her? But then why not show someone standing up there?
Yeah.
You know, if that's the case.
None of that.
It generally could have, there's so much of this movie that could have been just cut for time wasting.
Yeah.
It's not coherent, it's not interesting, it's doing nothing new. Its tricks and it has sleeves are substandard, lackluster, to the point where no reveal is clever or interesting, and a couple of good roles doesn't make up for a load of bad roles.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it's difficult viewing, and it's not a great slasher flick by any standard either, particularly what we got around this time. However, there are some good things, so let's talk about some of the good things. Although it's done irritatingly thanks to the dialogue, changing the sort of perspective in 1981 of having horny women
Yeah, so women are
lusting
like...
after a boy, rather than being a horny load of boys lusting after an individual woman, was kind of cool.
There was like, elements of that of like girls just like going, well, take control and, you know, we're going to go out and have some fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like the idea of that. I mean, maybe a couple more staff, or maybe a couple more like some men students.
Yeah.
Would have been like a bit more
balance.
A bit more balance.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was felt a bit like odd. Literally was the only guy in the club.
Yep.
The only guy in the club.
Yeah.
In the village. Yeah, but I say it was good to have like again stronger characters in 1981. And they do kind of try and fight themselves off to a point. Some
There's a lot of screaming, but it's not completely helpless.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at.
It might feel that way though sometimes because they spend far too long having what's supposed to be tension building, which is I heard a noise, creep around the house, I hear another noise, the door's open, lock the door, so on like that. There's so much of that.
Yeah.
It's so excessive that it gets boring after a while. That's the biggest problem I have with that. I also don't mind the attempt to make the characters, the girls, more jokey sometimes. It doesn't quite work. But for example, a scene that sticks out is that one of the girls... Right, here's a great example of the good and the bad. The girls are going to play a prank on one of their friends. So they're sneaking around her cottage, her villa. And the hero what they believe is her having sex in the throes of passion.
Yeah.
And it turns out the girl inside is pretending to have sex, like pretending, jumping around in her bed, making moans, groans, and stuff like that. So the idea, right, is that she's playing a prank on them.
Yeah.
However, there's the good, there's the fun, there's the kind of clever little thing.
A bit more flip for situation, because I reckon boys might have done that, trying to play a prank on their mate. The mate might be having to pretend to have sex with a girl to kind of boost up his cred with his mates. So again, that could flip both ways. So it's good they did it with a female perspective.
It's a fairly fun and light scene because it's shot in the daylight. It's quite warming and it's quite cute to a point. However, because this is Bloody Moon, it then fucks all that up.
Yeah.
Because the girls who are going to play a prank and catch her, they open a window and find her bouncing around. They're like, "Oh, you, laughing at her, right?" Now you would think the girl that was pretending to be like, and laughing off as well that she got caught. No, she doesn't. She goes into one of those huge dialogue rants about how angry she is because she's been humiliated because she's not actually having sex and that she's some sort of loser because of it. Yeah. And it's like, the fuck is
what's that about? Yeah.
That's
it's really jarring.
Jarring, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely jarring. But as a video nasty, I don't see this as certainly not one of the more violent ones, I think.
Yes, it feels very, if it was on the scale, it feels like a tame one. Like a nasty light for me.
I think, I was going to say it's tame majority, except when it does the killing blows. The killing blows are where the movie ramps it up.
To that stage,
If you consider every killing blow, so we've got a knife, and remember, all of this is shot in that classic style of up close. So they want you to see everything. So you're talking about a knife going through the back, penetrating the breast out the nipple.
Yeah.
That is pretty fucking hardcore.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
You have the obvious shot of the stone mill saw. Yeah. That's up close and violent. You get the claw thing, whatever, around the neck. It zooms in really, really close, so you can see the violence of that. The letter opener, whatever it is, through Miguel's neck.
That's pretty nasty.
This is what it is. It's the killing blows that are the most violent. And the snake scene. You know, I don't get this. I just don't get this. No. Well, you don't have to use a real fucking snake.
It does look really old. Would you reckon they'd reckon it'd be online? You can find out if it was agreed on.
I tried looking for it, and I couldn't find anything definitive about it. But it's implied it is.
It seems really real.
It's. I hope it wasn't. I'm making the presumption it was because of the extra shot of the snake head on the floor. Had it just been to cut the snake and then that had been it, I could have been like, oh, fair enough, a rubber snake. But it's not. You then shoot to the snake's head, which looks
really real.
So real that we believe it to be real.
Yeah.
And that's. Well, you know the stance of video nasties and animal cruelty. What the fuck you got to do that shit for, man? You don't have to do that.
There's so many ways around it. Like, you can show the animal, cut away, and it's implied.
Just that?
Just imply. If you're going to have that as part of your film, imply it. Why have you got to actually...
Yeah, show the snake, have it going down towards her head, have Antonio running over there, show him with the shears cutting, and like, cut away from the snake, and then you have bloody shears, and that's it. That's all you need. Yeah. But there you go. That's Bloody Moon. I don't think it's the worst of the episodes so far.
I found it quite
boring is a good word.
Not believable as well. Like, in fact, no one believed her. There's bits where they're in very flimsy cabins, and towards the end, one of the girls says, "Oh look, I'll go get some. I'll stay with you all night." Then proceeds to go out the cabin.
A minute later
to get beer, and on the way back, she gets the clamp around her neck and drops all the beer. But screams first. And
outside the door.
And the wall can't be more than that thick because they're just like shacks for holiday reps or whatever they are, like holiday resorts. And she didn't hear any of the bottles dropping or any of her friends screaming from behind that door. So it's like, at least build up to that, make it believable.
It's worse than that.
It was hard to watch.
It's worse than that. Inga's death happens in a room that is next to Angela. Angela's in a separate room. Inga screams when she gets the knife through her. And Angela goes, "Inga!"
Yeah. And it's just like, make it more believable because it was quite hard to watch and just a bit dull, really. So I wouldn't go back and watch this one.
During this, I said this was the second worst movie I've ever seen for the whole non-believing characters, stuff like that. I said it was the second worst I'd ever seen, to the point where you just throw your hands up in the air and go, "This is absurd." Yeah. Like you, it's not that people aren't going, "Oh, there must be a body." It's the fact they're literally like, "Oh, you've been reading a book, you've had bad dreams." It's the unwillingness to even go, "Okay, cool, let's go check it out."
Yeah. Yeah, your friend's clearly upset.
It's just, yeah, you know, oh, let's report this. You know, no one does anything, and that makes it a fucking difficult watch. It might actually be the worst, considering what we've done. We're only a handful of episodes into this. It might actually be the worst we've done if you consider what we've done. Evil Speak, Mountain of Cannibal God, Anthropopaka with the Service, Island of Death. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and then this one.
This is like the worst one so far.
I agree, actually. Yeah. On reflection, this is the worst one so far. There you go, Bloody Moon. Let us know what you think of it in the comments. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon and help us out over there. That's patreon.com/gbhbl, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?